Store's closed.
Not for me, pal. You might say I'm Spyro's hot co-star. I love that little dragon. The way he blows fire shaped like me. This is an official protest. I am an anti-Spyro activist.
Genghis, come.
What'd you say?
You're toast.
Help me!
PlayStation.
Once upon a time, there was a young dragon named Spyro. He journeyed across enchanting worlds to rescue other dragons from the spells of Nasty Mork. After battling Nasty and his minions, Spyro brought peace back to the land. Spyro Mania swept the country, and everyone lived happily ever after. Not! That feisty lizard burned herds of our sheep!
Cool. PlayStation.
We must band together to fight Spyro and his head-butting, sheep-burning ways. This isn't just a video game. It's a Spyrocracy.
$129?
Stay away from Spyro. Spyro.
See ya. PlayStation.
Boycott Spyro. Boycott Spyro. Sure, he looks like an innocent dragon, but he breathes fire. He's napalm on 4 scaly legs. And he headbutts. Just look what he did to me. What?
Barbecue.
Ow! What'd you do that for?
PlayStation.
Store's closed.
Not for me, pal. You might say I'm Spyro's hot co-star. I love that little dragon. The way he blows fire shaped like me. This is an official protest. I am an anti-Spyro activist.
Genghis, come.
What'd you say?
You're toast.
Help me!
PlayStation.
Once upon a time, there was a young dragon named Spyro. He journeyed across enchanting worlds to rescue other dragons from the spells of Nasty Mork. After battling Nasty and his minions, Spyro brought peace back to the land. Spyro Mania swept the country, and everyone lived happily ever after. Not! That feisty lizard burned herds of our sheep!
Cool. PlayStation.
We must band together to fight Spyro and his head-butting, sheep-burning ways. This isn't just a video game. It's a Spyrocracy.
$129?
Stay away from Spyro. Spyro.
See ya. PlayStation.
Boycott Spyro. Boycott Spyro. Sure, he looks like an innocent dragon, but he breathes fire. He's napalm on 4 scaly legs. And he headbutts. Just look what he did to me.
What? Barbecue. Ow! What'd you do that for? PlayStation.
All right. Hello, everyone. We should be live. Audio should be working, and let's see how well that actually works. As always, I'm your host, Trev Sevs. Hi.
I'm D-Town.
I'm Jeff Rooney.
And I'm Scoo.
There he is. Skylar, for some reason, it just like completely cut out your voice. It didn't even want to hear you.
Just like
Yeah. I don't know.
That was probably done on purpose.
We'll try to get the mic a little bit closer to us here.
You just like hit mute. Yeah. Well, anyway, welcome to the show. This is a show where we go and we talk about classic games, classic-ish games, as you'll see as we kind of like get into our discussion. Today we will be discussing Spyro, but before we discuss Spyro, as everyone else in the world is playing Starfield as it officially came out today, here we are talking about Spyro. So who has played Starfield so far? All right, there's our one. Okay.
Disappointment.
Yeah.
I've been playing Spyro because I play good games. So
What? What? Are you mad because of the pronouns, Jeff? Is that why you're not playing?
yeah, there was this thing where it's like if you're a male character, you can flirt with other men, and that's where I drew the line.
I'm gonna.
I
was gonna say, do we need to put out you're actually joking? That's not real.
I'm actually joking. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't actually care. No, I think if we're going to talk about Starfield for just a second, the idea that the game, I think I read something or I heard something that it was like a 60 or 80 hour game or something like that, and that just like gives me such anxiety that I just don't play games that are that long. Like I almost refuse to play a game that's that long because I'm like I can't promise 60 hours any like that's. Yeah, I want to play like fun games and just like
I think that's
short,
fair. But have you played a Bethesda game before?
Short answer, no.
Because those games are the definition of it's the journey, not the destination.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't have to beat it. That being said, I have been playing it for a bit. I'm not enjoying it so far, but I just do think it's funny that on the day that Starfield releases, here we are talking about more or less a PlayStation game. That's
what I was gonna say. It officially released today, right?
Yep, it did.
Okay.
But
I think I might wait 40 years and then do another episode of Unfinished Adventures playing that game.
Yeah, that sounds good. Honestly, you only really have to wait like 5 years, and then there'll probably be a remastered version of Starfield, and we can play that.
True.
Oh yeah,
it'll be on the next console.
It'll be the equivalent of however many versions of Skyrim there were.
I think like 3, right? At least.
Oh,
at least
3. Yeah, I mean there's the first version, then there was like the complete edition, then they remastered it, and then they ported it.
Remastered.
Yeah.
Well, does this port count as a different edition? I don't think a port counts as a different edition.
I don't know. Well, I think maybe that was the joke, is that it was just on every console. Like,
oh, it definitely.
I bought it. I think I bought it on the PC and I bought it on the Switch, and it's like I didn't play either of them. I played them for like 2 seconds. I was like,
my favorite game actually.
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right. Well, let's get on to the main topic of Spyro. So I think Spyro is it's an interesting game. And I say that as in I definitely have some nostalgia for it. I don't know how much of the nostalgia I have is actually for the first game, which we're going over, but I know I at least played the first, if not the second, and potentially the third growing up. And I know one of our resident experts here, Scoo, is quite the fan of Spyro, and I'm sure he'll let us know a little bit more about that in a minute. But Jeff Rooney, D-Town, Sky, what is your guys' experience with the Spyro universe growing up?
I guess I could start a little bit. The only game I ever played was the second one, actually, and it was one of those games where I had a PlayStation 1, but I didn't have a whole lot of games for it. But a friend was like, you gotta play Spyro or whatever, and so they let me borrow Spyro 2. Is that like the Legend of Ripto or Ripto's Revenge or
I think it's
something like
Ripto's
that?
Rage.
Ripto's Rage. So I played that one, and I do remember beating it, and I remember having a really good time with it. But I think I only played those two, and then I think my brother had like Skylanders, the portal thing.
Yeah, I don't.
Which I don't know if
what
that
is.
I never played it, but I know he played it.
Yeah.
Is that like an amiibo thing or what?
It was like the precursor to Amiibos, right? Because it came out
Amiibos
on the
came
Wii
out
U.
after. It definitely followed Amiibos. That was one of the
Did
Amiibo
It's
clones.
like copycats, kind of like the Disney Infinity.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I'm like 99% positive Amiibos were first.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, as far as experiences with Spyro goes, never a game that I owned as a child, but one that we would all group up at friends' houses to play. It was kind of like, for us, it was Crash Bandicoot and Spyro were like the platformers of the new age of PlayStation for us. So yeah, I never played the other two. I remember seeing them like at Blockbuster and game stores and stuff and be like, man, that looks cool. But for whatever reason, just never got around to playing it.
So what platformers did you grow up playing? Because and I say this because like I know we played a little bit of Super Mario 64 modded and we played it online, and I think if you grew up playing that game, you have an inherent skill set that I know Jeff and I had that I did not see on your side. So did you grow up playing Super Mario 64? Because like honestly, no matter what, at the end of the day, like anything that's not Mario is kind of B tier in terms of platformers. It's just the way it is. And so, did you play A tier?
Holy moly!
Or
yeah, I remember like just playing it a couple of times at friends' houses, but that was another one that I didn't own. Super Mario 64. So I definitely never beat it, and maybe beat like 2 paintings worth of things. Yeah, and then I never even like. I think I've seen it so much being played that I feel like I get the gist. Like I could probably piece all the puzzles together. But yeah, never beat that one or played a lot of it.
Interesting. And now, Scott, I would love for you to tell me why Spyro is actually S tier.
Yeah.
I wouldn't consider it S tier, but it's definitely my favorite collectathon platformer game of my childhood.
Yeah.
Because I only had a PlayStation growing up, and like Spyro 1, 2, and 3 were the 3 games I always played. So.
I definitely think, I mean, in terms of the PlayStation, I think they were the best platformers on there. Because really, when it comes to PlayStation...
Probably the best trilogy as well. Like, probably the best trilogy on the PlayStation, or best, like, collection of platforming games.
I'm trying to think of specifically of the original PlayStation. Like I don't know of many. I mean, well, because Crash Bandicoot definitely had like at least 3 games, but like I never really liked those games, and I still kind of don't like those games.
There was that series Croc. It had the little crocodile man running around.
Yeah, there's
Croc.
It only made it to 2. It didn't make it to 3.
Oh no!
It didn't quite get there.
Like, yeah, I was gonna say, I guess even with just like one game or 2 games, or at least being more than one, like I feel like Spyro was the most popular. Well, maybe Crash was the most. I don't know.
I think Crash was the most popular.
Yeah, but I feel like Spyro kind of had this like underbelly or like undercurrent of popularity, where it was like kind of I don't know, not a cult game, but it was just like you had like your Spyro fans, like your Spyro elitists.
Yeah,
Spyro and Crash went hand in hand together.
They really did.
Those 2 GBA games.
Yeah.
The Spyro Orange and Crash Purple.
Because I think that's really one of, like, Spyro's history is sort of interesting. And I think in some ways, very loose ways, it almost kind of mirrors, like, Sonic a bit. But, like, the thing is, Spyro games didn't continue to happen. Where Sonic games continued to happen. But I mean, you definitely had some great games in the beginning, and then it kind of got rough with the GameCube era, and then you kind of had some Game Boy ports, which I never played, because to me that genre just didn't really transition into that sort of like 2D. I don't know. I wanted to play a Spyro game, not some other thing. And then like the Skylanders or whatever came out, and I legitimately don't even know what that gameplay was like, because I was like, I'm good. I don't need that in my life, which is super interesting. So I pulled up some fun notes about kind of like the origin of Spyro and its character design. So apparently, the studio who originally developed Spyro, after they finished a first-person shooter called Disruptor, which I have never heard of. I don't know even if that's on the plate. And all I did was go, well, that's neat. I didn't Google it or anything. But after that, they were like, let's make something else. And so they basically were all just sitting there like, let's make an action-adventure game. And like literally the idea to come up with like being a dragon just came from some guy saying like, let's play as a dragon. And that was it. And they're like, yes, let's do that. Which
sounds good.
Yeah, I do love that sort of like, you're sitting there brainstorming and someone's just like, dragons. And then the whole room is like,
yeah.
That's it.
Dragons.
That's what we're looking for.
What isn't there another studio that did something similar? Like I feel like the people that made it was on PlayStation. I keep wanting to say Crackdown, but that was obviously like an Xbox game. But that might bother me. No, there was some game on PlayStation. I think that was also a shooter, and I think their next game was like something completely different. So I feel like that's.
Are you talking about Jack and Daxter?
Unique.
Well, because like that, see. I mean, well, that was in like a similar like genre sort of thing, where the next game, Jack and Daxter 2, was very different than the first one.
Yeah.
Are you thinking of Naughty Dog? Because I know Naughty Dog made Crash Bandicoot, and then they were like, Jack and Daxter, and then they were like, and then here's Uncharted.
Yeah, I could be.
Insomniac was cool. The ones that did Spyro, because they did Ratchet and Clank as well.
Yeah,
that was like my first. Actually, I think that's probably my first introductory to them. I think they also did like a PS4 or PS3 debut game. What was that?
Resistance.
Yeah. So yeah, they were kind of all over the place. I guess they were trying to get back to their shooter roots.
Yeah, I never really even played much of those games, honestly. Like I
think Resistance is the one I'm thinking of. The Insomniac. Yeah. Oh, because they also did they did Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like so it's like they.
Yep.
I think that is who I'm thinking of is Insomniac. I was thinking it was one of those like Naughty Dog and Insomniac, and I can't even remember what other studios they own at this point, but I thought it was, or like PlayStation Studios. Either way, that's kind of cool. Like whenever the studio just kind of like flips the script on what they want to make.
Yeah, it really shows the depth that you can do things. Like you don't have to do the same thing. And like speaking of Starfield earlier, like Bethesda has pretty much made Bethesda games. I mean, like they're different. I mean, like Fallout 4 isn't Skyrim, but you know what you're getting into. But going from like a first-person shooter to Spyro, that's a little different, just a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically whenever they were kind of going through the remastering process, so Toys for Bob, they're the ones who developed this. They developed a tool called the Spyroscope, which helped them emulate the original games like hitboxes and like paths. So like basically they like were able to rip out the level geometry and hitboxes as accurately as possible, and then just go and throw an extra coat of paint on it, which I thought was super cool.
Because
I feel like
that's
a lot
what I
of
was
times
gonna
you just
say.
build it.
Like, yeah, it's like it's remixed and remastered or whatever. That was one thing I was gonna say is like, as you're playing the game, it definitely feels like it's an old game, but just one that looks really nice. And it was the only thing that was kind of weird with some of the controls is like they weren't really all that customizable. Like I noticed that the camera, you couldn't like adjust it at all, which I got used to it, but I felt like the sensitivity was super high on the camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just kind of like it kind of has that classic game feel where at least on my controller it like multiple buttons did the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like I think I was playing with the Xbox, so it was B did the same thing as like right trigger.
Yeah, that was the flame button.
And Yeah, the flame button, and then I think Y was the action button. But then if you click the stick, that was also the action button.
That's interesting.
So it's just kind of it's like one of those things where like the game is, it's not basic, but like you don't need all the buttons to do stuff. Like it just kind of harkens back to a time where this is definitely just like a pick up and play game. Like there's no combos. Like you're not doing any any sort of crazy things to like actually get past the level. You can kind of just pick it up and just go.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think that's actually an interesting point that I want to come back to in a bit. But before we get to that, I have one more fun fact that I thought was really cool. So the soundtrack was apparently by Stuart Copeland, who was a former drummer For the Police. I had no idea. Like, I would have never known that. Because I just, like, every once in a while, I feel like you find it like, oh, this soundtrack was made by so-and-so. And you're just like, well, that's cool. But yeah, so... the original trilogy was composed by Stuart Copeland, who essentially after I think some of this, he started doing more classical music. I read a quote from him from like redbull.com, because they did for some reason a whole interview with the Toys for Bob people over Spyro, and they were talking about this. And they said that like he considers this some of his best work, and he'll go back to it and sort of reference it, which I thought was really interesting. So yeah, Stuart Copeland, right in the
soundtrack definitely is. It is very funky at times.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, I feel like they were experimenting a lot with with the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like just hitting like cuckoo clocks and things, and like
Hitting.
I don't know. It was just all over the
Playing
place.
the cuckoo clock.
I mean, it kind of has that like Grant Kirkhope Rare feel to it. I feel like it's just kind of whimsical and on some parts, and then like all the music matches really, really well. So I don't know. I mean, that's probably not fair to say that it's like a rare thing, but that's just what I think of whenever I think of like really excellent video game music.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think it was it's a thing that I feel like I actually remembered more playing it the original, and I feel like maybe it's just been like tuned down a bit. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot more sound effects going on, or maybe it's just a lack of focus as an adult, something like that. But it is cool just to know that. I just thought that was a fun fact. So let's kind of get into like the meat and potatoes of Spyro, and I know you kind of touched on the controls a bit. Overall, what are y'all's feeling with the controls? Because I think that they're fine. They feel a little slippery, but they're also they're not the worst like I've ever played. They're definitely, it has to be better than the original PlayStation version, because I remember being a kid and not having a good time with that.
Man, it shivers down my spine.
Well, on the controls,
Are you struggling?
and what I was gonna say on the controls. Do you know if you were playing on the PlayStation 1 with the D-pad version of the controller, or were you playing with the dual analog?
I think I had the dual analog.
Okay.
Assuming it supported it. This is an.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember what I played on. So, I didn't think the controls were too bad. I mean, the only time I ever felt like they were off maybe was when I had a part where the sheep were like running towards me, or like the bull or something like that, and I was like kind of miscalculating, but that's I think more of a camera issue where like I couldn't tell the depth properly, and so I would flame and then I'd miss and then they would hit me. I think that's the only thing I've had. I've had issues with the depth of the camera, not like the controls themselves really.
I think that's fair.
Are we the only people that played on Switch, or nobody else played on the Switch?
No, I played on PC. I played with my Steam Deck, or not Steam Deck, my Ally. So it was a handheld, but it wasn't a Switch.
I've done a playthrough on the Switch.
Okay. I just feel like the controls were just a little more difficult with the camera angles on the Switch, like the Switch controllers. For me, I guess. I don't know. There's plenty of times where I couldn't get it correct, and then I got killed and just threw the controls at Dallas because I was just so frustrated. I'm more of a I want it to auto move with me more than me just manipulate it manually. So that was really frustrating to me, to be honest.
And there is an option in the controls to do that.
Well, it's
so
a
you
little
might,
too late for that.
oh,
Still
okay.
got half the game.
You still got the other half. Yeah, because in the controls, like I said, there's not a whole lot like that you can do with the camera, but there is one part where you can adjust it to like reignited controls versus original or something like that. So you might try that. And I think in that it has the camera moves on its own. I think.
Nice. Yeah, should definitely try that out. It was, to me, she was super frustrated, but I was just laughing the whole time under my breath because there'd be so many of those areas where there's like a treasure chest next to like a body of water, and then she's just like spinning the camera around and just like dives through the chest like into the water multiple times.
Embarrassing.
Oh, that's funny. I wish we had some videos of that. I think that'd be some good stuff to have.
Yeah, true.
So Scott, this is your third time playing through the Reignited trilogy, right? Or at least the first one.
I want to say the fourth.
Fourth. So is it pretty much just like second nature at this point? You're just like running through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the first time I played it, if it was a rough time, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it just took me a second to sort of get used to. You kind of have to get into that like old school mindset a bit. I mean, like it's not really not bad. I mean, I think they did a great job of like I actually like so far in terms of like full remasters, I think this may be one of the best remasters of the game I feel like I've played because it like looks fantastic. It still feels true to the original. But there was a moment of me just like not really understanding what the controls were for at least like the opening area. I also had this weird thing where like it doesn't really support ultra widescreen, which is what I'm mostly playing on. And whenever I set it to the ultra widescreen resolution, the camera was too zoomed in and Spyro was literally like slipping around. Like I would move the controller and I would take my thumb off the stick and Spyro would just glide. And then as soon as I like kind of took it out of that, it worked just fine. So I don't know what was going on with that in the resolution. But I was just like, this is going to be a bad time if this happens. And then changing the resolution helped, which I was super, super thankful for.
The only thing I had with the resolution was if like it kept I was playing on a 4K TV and it was killing my ally.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how did that run?
Yeah, it killed it. So I turned it down to 1080p, and then at first it was like just doing the windowed thing where it was like in the top left corner, and I was like, okay, like obviously I'm not gonna try to play like that. And I ended up having to fiddle with it a bunch of times, like unplugging, plugging it back in, updating graphics drivers, and then it finally like worked on the full screen. So
the PC experience.
Yeah, it's well, and the ally it kind of has a hard time with whenever you dock it. Like it actually, like at least for me, it doesn't like it when you like it. I run into issues docking it.
Interesting. I think we could get a little technical on that, but I'll save some of those questions for offline. So one of the things I actually really do like about this game is I like how it just sort of throws you in and you're just playing the game. Like literally, like there's a cutscene that I think all the cutscenes should just show you is to be nice to people, because if you're nice, like literally if the dragons were nice, none of this would happen. That's all it takes. You know, if they wouldn't be making rude comments on TV, everything would be fine. But after that, I mean, you're playing the game, which I really like. Like all the tutorials really come from like the dragons telling you stuff. And I definitely like lose patience with modern games and like long intros. Like I could still do some of them, but I love that it was just like, it's go time. Like I'm in it. I'm Spyro.
Yeah. One of the things with the dragons, so that's like I guess one of the goals is going and saving these dragons. They've been captured in they've been turned into like stone or emerald or something like that, and all you have to do is just touch them, and then they'll tell you something. One of the things I kind of like enjoyed about the game is there's a couple of the dragons that you find, and they'll try to tell you some, like they'll try to impart some wisdom on you, and Spyro just kind of sasses off to him, is like, I'm good, and then turns around and leaves. Like it, so it's I don't know, it's kind of I don't know how old Spyro is supposed to be. Like, is he a teenager or something like that in the game? But he just like doesn't want to like talk to anybody.
I wonder if that was like a like an audience choice too, because I would assume they wanted this to be targeted towards younger kids, like adolescents, and having a character that's very rebellious and just kind of like, whatever, mom. They're probably like, yeah, this dragon is awesome, dude.
Yeah.
It's definitely 90s energy.
Right.
Yeah.
You're just like, that's it. That's what and Scott, is that what drew you to this game growing up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
90s energy. No.
Because I'm pretty sure like all of the text and like those sort of things is unchanged. Like I don't think, I mean, obviously,
even the voice, I think even the dialogue or the voice acting is all the same. Like
really,
like I said, I at least at the beginning, I'm pretty sure it is because. Like I said, when and I may have said this offline, but I started the game and it kind of goes with what you said a second ago, where it just kind of throws you in.
Mm-hmm.
So the game starts and it's kind of like this news report thing. It's like talking about I don't know how to say his name, like the Gnors, the Gnasties, and they're like saying all this stuff or whatever, and I was like, is this really the beginning of the game, or did I start the second one?
Yeah.
And so I pulled up a YouTube video of the original game, and I started it, and it was like, at least at the very beginning, it was the exact same dialogue, and it sounded exactly the same. So I mean, if the audio quality was good enough and they were satisfied with it, I don't see why they wouldn't just lift it and put it into the new game.
Yeah. I mean, that just shows some preservation on that point, just to like to record those audio files that well. Like, I don't know, because I'm surprised that the audio files sound the same. The text makes sense, yeah, but that's crazy.
Or they got people that sounded real similar, or something like that. And I could be totally wrong because I only watched the first 30 seconds of the YouTube video of the original gameplay, and then I went back to the new game. The remastered version, and I was like, oh, I mean, like I said, it sounded the same, at least in that first part. I didn't look at any other pieces of it though.
Yeah, I think this game definitely got to glow up for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I keep thinking about like a deep fried audio from like the PS1 version. They're like, this sounds awesome. Put that in the game.
Yeah, like bring it back in. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. No, I mean, the speediness of it, the gameplay, that you just start going, I think really lends it, because like a lot of newer games, they kind of like take forever to get you into it, and it's like, I just want to play the game. And so I did appreciate that from Spyro. I did find a kind of little funny glitch whenever I was in the first area. Let's see, I'm gonna see if I can show that for y'all now. So in this game, oh, hang on. I'm trying to show videos, so this is where I'm gonna break stuff. Okay, yeah. So in this, there's some enemies that sort of like just run away from you, and for some reason, these guys, they just never had any animation running. So just feet are just not moving, and he's just like running around, and I thought that was really funny.
Like he's on some rails or something.
Yeah. I think it'll. I don't know if it's set to repeat. It's not set to repeat. Let me see if I can do that again. Can I? Will this work again? No. Okay. I don't know how to show it twice. So, but it's there. But yeah, I just thought that was really funny. Oh, I think. Okay. Is it? Okay. There we go. It's showing twice. But yeah, like you can see it right there. His feet don't move. Just kind of come sliding in.
That's pretty cool. I need to go back and like play that part and just see, because I haven't noticed any graphical glitches like that.
That was really it so far. And that was one of the first things I ran into. So I was like, uh-oh. Like, what am I in for? Like, is this going to be...
Yeah, because that's pretty much at the beginning of the game, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And
I really doubt all the younger kids caught that. That's a Trevor catch right there.
Well, I'm assuming probably didn't happen for everybody. I assume that was just a glitch that happened on my end. But I just thought that was so funny. It's basically just like T-posing along, and he's coming after you. He's gonna get you.
Right.
The only issue I had was, and I think a graphics update fixed it, but I kept having it. It could have even been that the console was overheating, from playing it at 4K. But the game crashed a couple times for me at random points, and it was just like this random error. It was like a bamboo error is what it said, and I was like, I don't
A
know
bamboo
what that is.
error.
Yeah, and I looked it up, and it was basically like,
Yes, of
it could
course.
be, it could be your graphics. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
like of course it could be the graphics card. But other than that, I've had like after I updated the graphics driver and kind of like adjusted some of the settings, it hasn't crashed since then.
What was the performance like on the Switch?
It was decent. I mean, I think we only played it docked, and so I don't know if that makes a difference. But
It might.
I mean, outside of just like the normal, what's it called? Like the drift from the Switch controllers every once in a while. I think, yeah, nothing really stood out as like an issue where it was like lagging or anything like that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so FYI, you can replace, it's not super fun, but you can replace your Joy-Cons with like magnetic ones, so they'll never drift again. That's just a thing you can do. Just putting it out there into the world. PSA, if you have drift, you can fix it yourself. But I did want to show, so it is called Gnork, which I think has how you pronounce them. Like, look at the animation in that. Like, the facial expressions in this game are like top notch. Like, the animation quality is better than like some movies. Obviously, we're comparing today's standards, and this is going to be an unfair comparison. But like the other day, we watched Monsters Inc. because Ariel just put it on, and so I walked in there and I was like, "This does not look as good as I remember it," and it still looks fine. But like, I just was really blown away at like the facial expressions of these enemies. Like, and as we'll show later, some of the dragons. Like, really, the animators just were, like hitting it out of the park.
Yeah. That the dragons themselves that you find, like some of them they're all unique, but some of them are some of them just look really, really good. Like they have their own personality and their own characteristics and stuff like that. Like none of the dragons like feel like they were a copy and paste job.
For sure. And I don't.
Yeah, and I was thinking about. Sorry, Trevor. I was thinking about that and just wondering. I was like, man, some of these could be like NPCs, or I mean they are NPCs, but like just characters like in the game that they could do a little bit more with. And I was like, that's crazy to just come up with these really awesome like themes for them and stuff like that, and then just take them out of the game. So I was wondering if they were like Skylander characters, so they were a main character in another game or something like that. But
like a playable character in the other games.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I mean, like I said, I don't know much about the actual Skylanders, but from what I can understand, because I don't really remember, and Scott, you can back me up on this, but in the next Spyro 2 and 3, like the other dragons really aren't like a big part of the game, right? I think you're on mute, Scott.
Testing.
There we go.
There we go.
Yep. Yeah.
No, not in the second game, but in the third game, like the main collectible are dragon eggs, and that's really the only dragon parts in Spyro 3.
Yeah, so
it's just the first game that has collectible dragons, like
Yeah.
where you're kind of saving them. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I don't really think they were utilized that well. Which, I mean, they definitely put a lot of time into it. So it's interesting. Well, we're comparing like the first game. The first game, I don't think that they looked very different at all. Like I think that they all had very similar vibes.
They just use the same models with different colors. That's basically it on the PS1 version.
One thing I kind of wish that this game had is I wish it had like the setting like in the Master Chief Collection where you can go like you could flip back and forth. That's like one of my favorite things about the Master Chief Collection that I'm almost shocked that none of these other games do.
I'm sure it's so much work, honestly, to do that.
I'm sure, yeah. But I mean, if you're talking about like they already put in all the effort to whatever, like lift all the animations and lift all the hitboxes out, like you've already done, like you're already there, right?
Yeah, that is such a cool feature. So on screen, I've showed the old Gnork versus the new Gnork, and they're definitely a bit different, to say the least.
Yeah.
You got pants on now.
Yeah, and that's it. his pants.
We gained a couple lbs.
But I mean, overall, like the gameplay, the very first area that you drop you in is pretty simple. One of the things that I didn't really remember, and this could be just like also misremembering this as a kid, but like there aren't a lot of dragons per area or per stage. There's like max 3 or 4. Like I feel like all of these stages are like really quick. You're in and out. Which I like. It definitely reminds me of sort of like, it almost feels like this game could have been a portable game. I mean, obviously not back then because portables didn't quite look like this, but like the gameplay very much gives me that sort of like really quick in and out vibes that I know like Nintendo tries to do whenever they're making a portable game. They're like, you know, you can close and stop it at any time. And that's just what this feels like to me.
Yeah.
It's definitely more appreciative here. But honestly, I think one of the things that like in playing through the whole first area, it seems like you're pretty much basic platforming. I think the only thing that like I specifically remember or would want to show is that like this game, my biggest complaint with this game is what I'll show here is that I feel like a lot of the jumps in the game are way too specific. Like for instance, so this is a jump. I actually get it this first try, but this was the 4th try I did this. And I think this is what you're supposed to do. But this is an area in the first where you're supposed to fly over here and then you do that.
Yeah.
And like you can even tell when I make it, I like barely make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think you get I think you get an achievement on that one. At least
interesting.
Yeah, I think there was an achievement for that. Like whenever you do that jump and like you make it, and it says like get to the secret area of blah blah blah. But yeah, there's a couple spots like that. Like I think
I feel like all the spots are like that. Like any spot you have to fly, it's like so specific. It's like you have to make it, and if you miss it, you're dead, and that's just what it is.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say there are a couple spots where if you jump and you miss the jump, then you like fall into the water, and there's not a way to get out, and he just dies, and you're like, oh, okay,
I think
like it doesn't do the Mario thing like with the lava where it shoots you up in the air, and you can at least sort of try to aim yourself back up.
Yeah, I feel like maybe they could have done a better job at like maybe like cracking some of the bricks or like making it a little dirt rampy part where you're supposed to jump, because it almost just feels like you're like doing a glitch or like a clip through something just to like get ahead every time you jump on something. So yeah, I totally noticed that too, Trevor, and I agree it is pretty wonky.
Well, because like even in that video, let me see if I can get it to show. I don't remember exactly what I did to get it to show it again, but even in the video, like you'll see that. Okay, there we go. That like even when I make it, like I'm on the literal edge. Like let me see if I can like pause it, and like you can tell it's like the game's not sure. Like it's not sure if it wants to let me up or not. Like I am literally on the corner. It's just like I don't know. Did he make it? And that was like my 4th try, and then it finally just goes, yeah, okay, you're good. And then
It's just I think
you can see the achievement. It was down there at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
And it did pop up on your playthrough.
Yeah, so I think what frustrates me the most is like you said, you'll do it a couple times thinking like I'm supposed to go here, right? But like you don't know that. Like there's no affordance to be like, yes, come on over here. It's just like, oh, I guess I'll just keep trying until I give up.
Keep trying until I get it.
Well, so okay, Scott, this being your 4th time playing this trilogy, do you make all of those jumps, or do they throw you for a loop ever?
There's some that throw me for a loop. The one that comes to mind in the second world, it's the Dr. Shimp level.
Mm-hmm.
When you go up that tower to glide to get like this purple gem, I usually miss that one. I usually miss that one the first time because it's so specific.
Yeah. And
I'm trying to think of what that one is. It was on the tower in Dr. Shimp.
Yeah, you go up a little whirlwind up the tower, and then you gotta glide over to the purple gem. I think the key is over there too for the chest.
It's interesting because I feel like the rest of the game is pretty loosey-goosey on what you do. Like, it's not like, like you have to be super accurate. But man, anytime you're gliding, you better get it or you're not getting it. which is just like really my only complaint with like really the overall controls.
Yeah. Okay. It's like over there in the in like the it's like that
No
it's like a
Man's
little
Land.
it's like it's like a tower that's like in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. Okay. I did do that one.
They're coming back, I promise.
Oh, phew.
Sorry, I was trying to see if I can find a screenshot of it.
It's almost ironic how even one of the dragons says something like, "Well, if you're good at gliding, you'll be good at this game," or something like that. I don't know if he breaks the fourth wall, but it says something to that extent.
Yeah.
Like, if you're good at gliding, then you're gonna do well, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Especially in the first game, they kind of fix it in the second and third because they add like this hover ability where like at the end of the glide you can it's, like,
you
basically
kind of
double
fly
jump.
up a little bit.
Yeah. Like you get like a little flutter, like a little last ditch effort to make it up.
Which that's such an interesting fix, because wouldn't the better fix just to be to lower the platform a tiny bit? Like, you know, like I'm not saying a lot. Like I'm not saying that jump. Like I'm fine with the specific example that I showed being specific because I got an achievement for it. So sure, but there are a lot more jumps that I'm like, why did I miss this jump and fall off? I don't know. I mean, obviously I think that was the intended experience. It was just a little bit annoying. You know, after like the fifth try of just like, well, let me go freaking climb up and jump again. But I didn't quite feel a sense of reward whenever I got that achievement. I was just like, oh, okay, great.
Sense of pride and accomplishment.
Yeah.
Scott, how do you do on the flight levels? Like, do you kind of know how to do them? Like, do you know the proper way?
Yeah, there's only one that gives me trouble. We haven't got to it yet. I think it's in the fifth world. But
there's only one that gives you trouble, because like those were the ones. Those were the ones where like, I would get so close to winning or like getting all the items, and then I would either like barely run out of time, or I'd accidentally hit the water, and I was like a little crackhead. I was like, I got like one more time. I got to try it one more time, and I did that for like, I think there was one that was pretty easy and it took like 10 minutes, and then the rest of them took like 30 minutes for me to do, just because like I would just barely mess up, and so but I was like, I have to do it.
Yeah. I understand.
Did you have trouble with the one where you have to light the lanterns?
Yeah. Yep. I didn't. That one I had a little bit of trouble with, like, especially. Is that the one that also has the trains? That's the lanterns and the trains.
No,
so the trains are in the first one, which
okay.
Yeah.
So
that one was pretty tough.
I want to give a quick explanation of what exactly we're talking about. So Spyro is mainly consisted of hub worlds. Those hub worlds have dragons in their main world, and then they have like mini offshoots of levels in that, and those have their own dragons, which can sometimes have like dragon's eggs, as well as just other little collectibles in there. But in each of the little hub world, there is a flying mission. And this flying mission is very different than the rest of them. You don't collect dragons. You pretty much just fly, and you get points from it. And so the one that I have shown on screen is the first one, where it's a really nice, brightly lit flying arena. But your goal is to essentially fly through them all and destroy stuff, and you get points for it. And it seems like, from what I understood, they kind of really like want you to follow a path to do, and then you're just supposed to execute on that. But I do not know what the hell the path is for this first one. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to take. Like, what is the correct answer? I mean, like, I got it, but I feel like I did it in a super weird way.
Yeah. There was always, if this is the one, okay, so the way that I would do this one, because this one also had the chests in it, right? Like chests in a circle.
They were down in like in the bottom right.
Like, it's like down to the bottom right. Okay. Because I think the way that I would do this one is I would go and do the chest first, and then I would fly to the trains, and I would fly against the railroad. So like they would be coming one direction, I would be flying against them, and I would hit them as they came by. And then that one had the was it like the arches? Was it the arches and the rings, or was it the arches
the arches and the planes?
Yeah.
In the planes, okay.
I think they've all had arches so far.
They've all had arches, okay. And there was one of them, and I can't remember if it was this one or the second one, where I would not be able to get all the planes in one go. Like I would be able to get 7 out of the 8, and I would go and do maybe it was the next one, maybe it was the nighttime one, but I would like that was where I was saying I would just barely miss it because I'd go and do everything else and I'd be flying back to go and get the last plane or whatever.
Yeah.
And there were a couple times where I was at point I would run out of time and I would be like shooting the flame at the plane and I would miss it and I was like, oh. And it happened
Buzzer
2 or
beater.
3 times. Yeah, buzzer beater, man. Except I didn't beat the buzzers. I just lost.
Beat by buzzer.
Yeah, I got beat by the buzzers.
Yeah.
Hate
So,
this. Yeah.
real quick, I know Scott's going to tell us the right answer and what we were doing wrong. Skylar, did you try these ones? Because I know you said you had trouble with controls. I was curious if you ever did the flight ones.
No.
No.
These were definitely like very like if we're talking about precision in the game, these are where the precision like really comes into play because especially maybe not in this one, but in one of the other ones, a couple of those chests are like right above the water level, and so I would accidentally touch the water, and he'd be done for. Or if I was like shooting at a chest and I would hit the ledge and I would like fall a little bit, and so then he would stop flying. Like that was always terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Spyro has that flying ability where not ability, maybe I don't know. But you can push like the left bumper and he'll turn around. But that takes like 3 seconds. Yeah, he'll turn around, but it takes a long time, and it's almost not worth it to use it ever.
Really?
Because of how long it takes. It's almost faster to just turn around than it is to use because it does this animation to do it, and then it's like, I don't know. Scott might say that it's actually worth using, but I haven't found a use for it. Yeah.
So, real quick, because I also want to get Dallas's take on it. But another thing, so I guess this is like the time to really complain about this game. So like I don't know if you noticed, so like you'll destroy an enemy, right? And you get plus 2 seconds added. That plus 2 seconds doesn't get added until the animation goes up. So like basically you destroy an enemy, plus 2 shows up in the middle of the screen, and then it just smooth transitions up to like the top left. But like you don't get your time when you kill the enemy. You get your time after that animation, which already takes like half a second. And this is so precise that you're like literally down to the half seconds. You just watch it and it's just like, just give me my time. Give me my time. For the love of God, give me my time. It's so stressful.
And I even noticed like half the time you would get the plus 2 seconds and you weren't actually like building up time most of the time. It was usually just keeping the timer the exact same.
I know, and it's just like you have to be so specific, and it was oh gosh, it's a pain.
So what's interesting is that's faithful to the original.
Should it be?
Because in the second and third game, the time's added immediately after you kill whatever you killing or destroying.
Yeah, so they just really like dug in the fact that like no, this game, like we were going to keep it exactly the same. Like we'll upgrade the graphics on it, but gameplay wise it's going to stay the same,
which is an interesting choice for sure.
Yeah, this was for me it's like this is where boys become men kind of thing. And for the longest time I just kept trying to beat it in like one go, and then I realized like, oh, you could just come back and like get the gems like piece by piece. So then I stopped stressing myself out and just did that.
Oh, I did not.
What do you mean get the gems piece by piece?
I stressed myself out every time.
Yeah, so like if you just, let's say you got all the trains, but you didn't get the other pieces, or you didn't complete the full set of the other pieces. Well, whenever you go to the finish screen, it'll give you the reward for just the ones that you got, that you did the full complete set of. So I just kind of did that. I wasn't like killing myself over like trying to get all of it in one round.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think you get all of the max amount of points for that though.
Yeah.
Like I think.
Oh, is there one where like you get it if you do it all in one go?
Yeah. So if you do it all in one go, you get an extra 60 gems.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so you got to go back and do it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, you if you're gonna 100% this, you got to get that.
If the boys are becoming men, you got to go back and
you got to become.
redo it.
I'll just be a teenager for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So Scott, what is the right solution for this course?
For that first one?
Yeah.
what Jeff did. Well, slight modification to what Jeff did. So go down to the right to the chests, and then you do the arches, and then you do the planes, and then you finish with the trains.
Okay, and that may have actually been how I did it. It's just one of those things where I tried it differently a bunch of different times. Like I was like, all right, I'll start with the trains. I'll start with the treasure chest. I'll do the treasure chest, then the trains, then the arches, then the planes. So
is this like a children's novel?
Yeah, it's like I'll try it. I'll try it anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, but they're a little brutal.
So I guess, and one thing I did forget to mention, I was explaining sort of the whole, like, the way all these worlds work, is that there is a boss, I say quote unquote boss for each world, because definitely, like, the first boss, I think I have a screenshot of him somewhere. They're honestly just like enemies you have to hit 3 times. That's kind of what they are.
One of the bosses, I didn't even realize I beat the boss until I was like reading up on the levels just to make sure. I think I went a little bit further than halfway on this game, but I got to one part where it was telling me that I needed to save like 50 dragons, and so I was just like looking to see if I had missed like actual levels within the hub world. So I was just like looking at the name. I was like, oh, okay, I missed this one. I'll go back into the map and I'll go find it. And on one of them, I had beat the boss. I was like, I don't even remember fighting a boss. I was
yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was my same experience with Toasty on the first world. It said like to go defeat Toasty or whatever, and yeah, I finished it without fighting a boss, and I was like, well, what the hell? So I just left, and I came back in, redid the whole thing, and then by the time I got to the end, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna look this up because I've looked everywhere.
And then you destroy Toasty. Yeah, so Toasty is pictured below. He is a scarecrow.
It looks pretty scary.
Yeah, honestly, it looked cool. Like you can't say this game looks bad by any stretch of the imagination. For sure. But I will say, leading up to this area, those dogs, they fucking suck.
They suck.
Oh,
the dogs are like the worst enemy.
Jesus.
Yeah, man, they killed me a couple times because this also has it's the dogs and the wizards, right? Or it's like the wizard like telling you. Yeah, the shepherds. Yeah. Oh man, those dogs with the jumping and smashing down on you. Like I don't know the pattern for that. I kind of ran past a lot of them.
I think you have to like barrel roll out of the way. At least that's what I ended up doing.
Yeah, I never actually barrel rolled at least like once during the game, but I would basically do a thing where I would charge it, and then I would hit them first. I would flame them, and then I would like basically just try and boost away really quick before they freaking gotcha. But like oh my god, I was getting frustrated. I will say with some of them boys. Which admittedly, you don't have to like destroy them all or whatever, but like they
if you want on the gyms,
you got to do it.
Yeah.
If you're willing to work for it, but like they look so cute and unassuming, but man, they flatten Spyro.
Yeah.
I wish I took a recording of me getting through it because I was having a bad time. It probably took me 3 tries to get through that. Because it's just like you don't like one of the things that I also didn't realize, I didn't quite remember how like the actual health worked in this game. So whenever I started up and I was in the main world, there's an area with like some water and like the little bricks that actually get you into the first area or the first flight area. So I was jumping into the water and I couldn't quite tell if I was getting hurt. So I kept jumping into the water just to see what was happening, and then all of a sudden I died.
You like drowned.
Yeah. So that was a little unclear at first of what damage was actually being done. I get it now, but I think it's maybe a little too subtle for me. Like, there's got to be a finer line between like a little tiny dragonfly and really annoying beeping hearts. There's got to be something in between. But so I think that pretty much covers the first area going through the boss. What was your favorite notable moment of the first area?
I remember. I start to kind of like blend some of these. Was the castle in the first area?
I think the castle is sort of like the castle was the second area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think that's where I showed my screenshot from. Or the video of me gliding from was actually from the second area.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we covered probably the two areas that, yeah, really stood out, which was like the flying and then that quote unquote boss area. But it was an okay starter level, I think. But it did make me compare it to Ukulele that we played earlier. And their starting level, and I actually feel like I like theirs a lot better just because of maybe the variety of it. Obviously, this is a remake, and it's, you know, they did what they could with what was given to them. But it really shows you how like some of these new games are really trying to like improvise on that and do new things. So yeah, it was a little too tame for my taste, I would say. But it quickly picks up after that. So
yeah. I think the most memorable thing about the first area is mainly just like, oh wow, these dragons look fantastic, and then, oh, so this is what I have to expect with the flight worlds. Great, I only got 6 more of these, I guess.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of what we got.
yeah.
Scott, what's your favorite part of the first world? What gives you the most nostalgia?
Probably the level Dark Hollow.
Dark Hollow,
Which is in that little.
Yeah, I had to look that up.
I just really like the art design and music in that level. It's in that little hedge maze. The level itself.
yeah, I like that level too. I think it's interesting that the levels start you off basically in just like probably the worst view of a level ever, in terms of like you literally can't see anything. But then, like, as soon as you walk out, you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. I'm trying to pull a screenshot of it, but it keeps hiding the screenshot. And because this is a professional show, I'm all ready. I'm all ready with everything.
Was this the first level that you get exposed to like very large creatures, like not just the standard, you know?
Yes.
Foot guy, yeah. So because I remember my first encounter with them, I was like, oh man, this looks like a boss almost.
They're like feathers though when you hit.
Yeah, you just like blow fire and they're just like, duh.
Yeah. You got me.
Yeah. And then that started to make me think, like, am I going to learn new skills in this game? Or kind of what Jeff was saying earlier, where he's like, you just pick it up and then there's no combos or anything. It got me on that mindset because I was like, how is this going to get progressively more difficult if all I can do is just ram or
run and I will say that the game is kind of easy on some stuff. Like, well, you know, besides the flying part, like in terms of some of the enemy stuff, it's like, you know, it's just like hit them with your flame, or, you know, bash into them. Like it's pretty straightforward on a lot of them.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like a 50-50 too, because I'm like, if I meet a brand new enemy character, I'm like, well, am I gonna ram it or am I gonna blow fire? Like,
gotta try both.
Let's flip the coin and see if I get hurt or not.
Well, sometimes you can press it both so quickly that you're gonna murder it no matter what.
Yeah,
this is definitely not the Dark Souls of the dragon genre
of dragon games.
Yeah,
Scott, what's with the skill points that will pop up? Like I'll get that every once in a while, and it'll say skill point unlocked or something like that, and I'm like, where do I use that? Like, where is it at? What is this?
So back in the PS1 days, they kind of added that in the second and third game as like achievements, really, just doing these little special things, and they added some in this one, the first game.
Okay, but it doesn't do anything though.
Yeah,
it just gives you a life.
So it's like literal skill point. Like
okay.
Oh,
that's funny. Yeah, you can't like invest in your fire breathing or anything like that.
Yeah,
you can't level that up.
No,
I'm glad you brought that up because I remember seeing that too, and I was like, that's a thing, and then I forgot about it.
Well, I figured there had to be like a merchant or something, you know, a dragon merchant that you'd find, but yeah, I never found anything that like that. Yeah, that would of course be how it goes. Like you would beat the whole game, and then you can like upgrade your stuff. And it's like, well, I've already beat the whole game.
Yeah, I don't want to play this anymore. Yeah, for sure. All right, well, let's take a quick fiver, and then we'll come back and we'll go over the other 2 remaining worlds. All right. We're going to roll the intro right now.
Store's closed.
Not for me, pal. You might say I'm Spyro's hot co-star. I love that little dragon. The way he blows fire shaped like me. This is an official protest. I am an anti-Spyro activist.
Genghis, come.
What'd you say?
You're toast.
Help me!
PlayStation.
Once upon a time, there was a young dragon named Spyro. He journeyed across enchanting worlds to rescue other dragons from the spells of Nasty Mork. After battling Nasty and his minions, Spyro brought peace back to the land. Spyro mania swept the country, and everyone lived happily ever after. Not! That feisty lizard burned herds of our sheep!
Cool. PlayStation.
We must band together to fight Spyro and his head-butting, sheep-burning ways. This isn't just a video game. It's a Spyrocracy.
$129?
Stay away from Spyro. Spyro.
See ya. PlayStation.
Boycott Spyro. Boycott Spyro. Sure, he looks like an innocent dragon, but he breathes fire. He's napalm on 4 scaly legs. And he headbutts. Just look what he did to me. What?
Barbecue.
Ow! What'd you do that for?
PlayStation.
Store's closed.
Not for me, pal. You might say I'm Spyro's hot co-star. I love that little dragon. The way he blows fire shaped like me. This is an official protest. I am an anti-Spyro activist.
Genghis, come.
What'd you say?
You're toast.
Help me!
PlayStation.
Once upon a time, there was a young dragon named Spyro. He journeyed across enchanting worlds to rescue other dragons from the spells of Nasty Mork. After battling Nasty and his minions, Spyro brought peace back to the land. Spyro mania swept the country, and everyone lived happily ever after. Not! That feisty lizard burned herds of our sheep!
Cool. PlayStation.
We must band together to fight Spyro and his head-butting, sheep-burning ways. This isn't just a video game. It's a Spyrocracy.
$129?
Stay away from Spyro. Spyro.
See ya. PlayStation.
Boycott Spyro. Boycott Spyro. Sure, he looks like an innocent dragon, but he breathes fire. He's napalm on 4 scaly legs. And he headbutts. Just look what he did to me. What?
Barbecue.
Ow! What'd you do that for?
PlayStation.
Store's closed.
Not for me, pal. You might say I'm Spyro's hot co-star. I love that little dragon. The way he blows fire shaped like me. This is an official protest. I am an anti-Spyro activist.
Genghis, come.
What'd you say?
You're toast.
Help me!
PlayStation.
Once upon a time, there was a young dragon named Spyro. He journeyed across enchanting worlds to rescue other dragons from the spells of Nasty Mork. After battling Nasty and his minions, Spyro brought peace back to the land. Spyro mania swept the country, and everyone lived happily ever after. Not! That feisty lizard burned herds of our sheep!
Cool. PlayStation.
We must band together to fight Spyro and his head-butting, sheep-burning ways. This isn't just a video game. It's a Spyrocracy.
129
Stay away from Spyro.
See ya. PlayStation.
Boycott Spyro. Boycott Spyro. Sure, he looks like an innocent dragon, but he breathes fire. He's napalm on 4 scaly legs. And he headbutts. Just look what he did to me. What?
Barbecue.
Ow! What'd you do that for?
PlayStation.
Store's closed.
Not for me, pal. You might say I'm Spyro's hot co-star. I love that little dragon. The way he blows fire shaped like me. This is an official protest. I am an anti-Spyro activist.
Genghis.
And we're back. Sorry, we all had to stretch our legs, and actually we just talked about Crash Bandicoot during the break.
Oh, no.
Better game.
Oh boy, I hate Crash Bandicoot. I want to play it because I hate it. I actually have never liked it, so I think that would be fun to see if my opinion changes on Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
It probably
I'm a
won't,
believer.
but I would think it'd be fun. All right, so we finished our artisan area, which is kind of like it's weird that it's like separated through groups, like artisans, and then you go to peacekeepers. I don't know. I just think that is sort of a weird separation, but the peacekeeper area does look like it looks different than artisans. It looks like the overworld. I don't think I got a screenshot of the overworld because that would be
Sandy.
silly. Yeah, it is a bit
It's like
sandy.
like Tatooine.
I have a screenshot of one of the areas in it, and so I'll share that real quick. And I do actually like the screenshot because it's one of the things that I kind of wanted to point to in terms of like how well this whole kind of game is presented, and also like how creepy the 1-ups are. Like, I don't know if you can see that, but like they got some really articulated fingers there. Let's see if I can make.
I didn't realize that's like.
Let's take a.
Like I killed a bunch of those, but yeah, I didn't put it together. That was actually a 1-up.
Yeah.
Like look at them fingers. Something about them is just a little unnerving to me. Like I don't like it.
Yeah, it's got like 9 knuckles.
Yeah,
9 knuckles.
But overall, that's pretty much the theme of this level, which is just a lot of dirt, a lot of sand, a lot of castles, and then the dragons themselves are all like super, like buff. They all got weapons. They're all ready to kick butt. Let me pull up an example of one of these dragons here. Make sure. Oh, there's one holding a cake that said Spyro on it. I'm just gonna show this one, even though this isn't Hang on, Windows Explorer just crashed. Give me a second.
Oh no.
One thing I will say about this second level is I always feel like it feels good to go from like grass world as a starting place to just like plains for me.
That's classic.
Yeah, it's just like it feels good. I'm glad we didn't get dropped into like water world or ice, like full blown ice world.
Yeah.
Although I think there might be a nice level in this realm, unless that's the third one. But yeah, it just feels good because it feels like you're still kind of learning the ins and outs, right? And this is starting to add more, I guess, like complicated jumps and new types of enemies. So give some more promise to the game. Whoa,
That's pretty expressive.
Yeah. So this is at least one of the dragons in this area. There are definitely a lot more, like war type, which is funny because they're called. I mean, I get why they're called peacekeepers, but it is what it is.
It's like Rocky Horror Picture Dragon.
Yeah. So this area had the home area, which had about 3 dragons. We didn't really talk about the dragon eggs, which is definitely something we should talk about, which I also don't have a screenshot of because why would I?
The dragon thieves.
Yeah, while I'm looking for a screenshot, Scott, can you walk us through the dragon thieves and like maybe your favorite one of the first 3 worlds?
The favorite one in the first 3 would be in the Stonehill level. That's the one with the rams that try to headbutt you at the beginning. But my favorite one is in that level, and I think it's on the upper level where you have to glide to it after you save a dragon. He tells you to like glide over there. But basically, the thieves have these eggs, and you got to chase after them. And once you kill them, they give you an egg.
And boy,
and like, what's the strategy for catching them? Like, I always feel like it's kind of a little bit of luck, like, because you run almost the exact same speed as they do, and they run in a circle most of the times, but they run in like a wider circle. So are you supposed to kind of like take the inside edge? That way you're running a smaller distance and then flame them. Like, what's the best? Well, okay, I was gonna say, what's the best strategy? I also have had luck with if the thief is on a lower level and there's a platform, I've had luck where I'll just be on that upper platform and I'll run off, and as I'm running off, I can flame and then it'll hit them as I like am falling down.
Yeah.
I don't have to chase them.
I think this is where Pythagorean's theorem comes into play. Or like any trigonometry courses. Yeah, I've only, when it comes to like the circle ones, I try to just like cut a straight line like across at like a 45-degree angle and then try to flame them from there. But I feel like there's always this awkward thing where I'm like turning the character, but the camera doesn't go fast enough, so I just spray and pray. I'm just like,
Pray and pray.
Yeah.
you know, and then just hope it hits them. So, yeah. What about that sound bite from them? Isn't that
Just like laughs at you.
Their soundbite is
infuriating?
great. I wish I had that so I could share it, but that would require for thinking. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so
High-pitched.
perfect because you can just hear it from wherever you're
Yeah,
at,
and
and
it's-
you're like,
Yeah. Where are you?
yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it makes you mad. Like you just like, okay, I'm coming for you.
Yeah, you're like, all right, man. So on screen, I have pictured the ones from the Reignited trilogy and the original ones. I definitely hated them in the first one. I remember playing it on PlayStation and being like, this is awful. I hate it because I feel like in the first one, so whenever you dash, like that's pretty much one of Spyro's only move is you run fast and you spew flames everywhere. And I feel like whenever you dash in the PlayStation one, if you hit anything, you just stopped. And I feel like in this game, and I don't remember because I haven't played the old one in a long time, but like in this game, you kind of like bounce off the walls. Like I don't feel like you hit a dead stop every time. And so I remember doing these as a kid, and I felt like I just hit the wall every time, and I stopped because I probably wasn't good at the game, and it was probably not easy. But in this one, they're great because like they're honestly pretty fun because you just get to chase them, and they're pretty easy. Like only every once in a while are they too annoying, but like you can normally get them in like 2 or 3 runs, which I enjoy. But I really like the facial expression of them. They're just like, once again, at every enemy we show, like, it's so good.
They're taunting you with their smile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of pretty much every enemy design in this game. Like every design, like I have a lot of the screenshots of all the dragons. I just don't remember their names or anyone's particular, so that's why I haven't pulled them up. But like animation work, once again, coming back to it.
Top notch.
So good.
I like it.
Oh, and there's apparently this shirt that you can buy, which I just found. Hang on, I'm gonna share this with y'all.
Yeah.
1 second.
Put that affiliate link in the description.
Yeah. Where'd it go? Here we go. Hang on. There you go. If you guys want a shirt.
Oh gosh.
I feel like this show has given me a great reason to just Google things, and I forget what it's like to just go down Google Images and just scroll past the first couple. It gets super interesting really quickly.
Are there any so in the last, like the Luigi's Mansion one, we you found some weird
I haven't yet.
images.
I haven't.
Have you
yet.
found anything, like where the dragons have been sexualized
Not
in some sort
quite.
of way?
No, I'm sure that'll happen if we get to. Is it Spyro 2 where you have like the bunny character, Scott?
That's 3.
That's 3. Okay, there's a bunny character.
There's a fawn character in 2.
Oh, okay, so if we get to 2 and I do any Google imaging of her, I'm sure we'll get there real quick. But no, not yet. Not of Spyro, thankfully. It's all been relatively safe so far.
Yeah, it's pretty tame.
Nice.
So this area, anyway, I was going on, consists of, I think, 5 areas. I think they all consist of 5 areas. The homeland, there's an area called Dry Canyon. There's Cliff Town, which I think Cliff Town is where I showed that first actual clip of. I'm pretty sure that was that. Well, maybe not. Maybe that was the Artesian area. Is it bad that I can't tell the difference? You had the ice cavern.
I think you're on the right one.
Okay.
The T-pose?
No, not the T-pose. That was definitely the first area.
But
what I was showing
flying
the
thing?
flight. Yeah, where I got that achievement.
I
from.
think that was in the
Oh.
first. I think that was the first area, right? Or like that was on the first world. I'm pretty sure it was like that was on Stonehenge or Stone Cliff or something like that.
I don't remember. This one.
All right,
Was that in the first?
Yeah, that's in the first.
Okay, yeah. Either way, I couldn't remember. I do think some of the areas. I mean, obviously this one's like it's dirt, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of the gameplay is similar, at least from the second world to the first world, because you don't really learn any new abilities. It's still kind of the same thing of going through and getting dragons, and I feel like a lot of the enemies in this one are kind of the same. There's the introduction of this dude who just stabs you, which I thought was hilarious. I don't remember his name.
Is that like the little musketeer people?
Yeah.
Yeah, that I actually really enjoyed that little town. It kind of had this cool blend of music too. It was like Spanish and like Middle Eastern or something.
Oh yeah, because those were the guys that like they have the metal cape, right? Okay, yeah. I had to look up a picture of them, but yeah, they're pretty cool.
They have like the cooking mamas that just like smack them on the ass to like
Oh yeah. That man, those guys are brutal. Yeah. With they have like the rolling pins and they just smack them on the butt. They start charging at you.
I'm trying to pull up a screenshot of the guy who just stabbed me. The stabbing was hilarious because I literally just walked up to this guy and I just got I think I died because I think I only had like one hit left, so I just got stabbed and just ate it immediately, which I thought was super funny.
I know we mentioned it a little bit with the dragonfly, but I do like that gameplay element where the dragonfly changes colors based on your health, because it's like the HUD is pretty basic in the game. Like you got your gems and like really that's it, right? Like that's pretty much the only thing that's on the HUD at any given time. So I like that they kind of kept it really simple, and it's like, hey, if the dragonfly is gold, you're good. It's red or blue or whatever. Is it gold, blue, red, and then gone?
Yeah, I think so.
So it's like 4 hits total, but like I liked that. I like the the way that they kind of handled the life system.
I just wish it was a bit easier to see sometimes.
That's a good point too. I was gonna say, I think there's like this fine line between Spyro's on the more mild side, and is it Navi? I don't know. Navi. She's on like the more annoying side. I really love like the interaction of Banjo-Kazooie, where like Kazooie feels like it's this other character. Like obviously you're running around as Banjo, but like you feel like Kazooie is a part of the game. I kind of wish the Dragonfly was like a little more involved in the game. But anyway, what are you gonna do?
Gave tips or something?
Yeah, just like interacted with the dragons, or like they looked at the Dragonfly. I was like, oh, is there a little buddy? And it was like, just something like that.
That one dragon said like treat her right or something. Give her
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was one of the things I noticed about the dragons is sometimes they would tell you stuff and you've already done it. Like you'll run into them. I can't remember which one it was, but you run into it and he tells you, I think it's in the second world, but he tells you, it's like, hey, just so you know, if you go and jump on those lily pads on the first world, it'll unlock the door. It'll do something crazy. Like you should go try it. And I was like, I've already done that. Like,
yeah,
but like suffered. that's I was like, that's his dialogue piece, so he's got to say it. He can't say anything else.
Yeah, he can't
learn. Like choices matter in this game. This isn't Baldur's Gate, Spyro.
Oh man. The cooking mama.
Is she a carrot or?
She's got like 3 eyes.
Yeah, so there's the old versus the new.
Yeah, maybe. Kind of cool.
But definitely, once again, definitely got to glow up there.
A little bit of glow up.
Yeah, she looked really derpy back in the day.
Yeah, I do love just like the minimal. I think in one of the articles I was reading, they mentioned that like Spyro had like more polygons in his eye than he did in his original model with like the Reignited trilogy, which I just thought was really cool. Just so much effort can really go into that stuff, and it's awesome to see, especially when they hit it out of the park like they did with this game.
Yeah. Do you by chance know the budget that they had for this game, like for the Reignite, like for the old one versus the new one, Let's see. Hang on, I can Google it while you're talking.
Cool.
Well, you have to count inflation too.
Yeah, I'll
hang on. I'll
get the inflation out.
I think I leave mine in the junk drawer.
Yeah, like the characters. I feel like this character could just be a boss, like in the game. That's how cool they look.
Yeah.
But
the one on the left, you mean?
Right.
Yeah. The carrot.
It's just like a 2D thing that just like turns sideways and disappears and then like appears in front of you.
Shocking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the amount of effort that went into every enemy, like, it's almost a shame how quickly they're off screen. You know what I mean? Because you really just, like, you go, and they're dead. And they're like, oh, no, you got me. You win. But it's just so great. They're just top-notch. Did you find the budget for them?
So the original games are $1 million per game is what it was for the first three. I'm trying to find the like what it was for the Reignited trilogy, but they don't really treat this the same way they do as movies, where you can just like find it.
Yeah, like
I don't know a lot about video game budgets, but 1 million sounds like a ton.
Well, like
90s.
I mean,
really?
well, I feel like 1 million is actually I feel like that's incredibly cheap, like especially if you're comparing it to like Starfield. I think was like $400 million.
Yeah.
So you know, like, and I think Grand Theft Auto 5 was something crazy like that too. Like it was like $300 million. Like some of these games now are costing more than movies are. So I feel like $1 million isn't really that much. I mean, you also got, so it's $1 million. How many people worked on the game and how long did that take? You know, you're breaking it down. Like what was the average developer making in 1999? Was it, or are they making like $100,000, $50,000? And how many of them were there? So I feel like $1 million is actually pretty affordable.
Well, if you go off of the game life, if you choose to be a software engineer, I think you make around 70,000. So
Hey, life was from the 90s too.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's closer. And apparently, Spyro the Dragon sold 4.83 million copies, so I think it definitely made its money back.
Yeah, okay, so it sold 4 million copies, and they were probably, what, $60 a piece, or $50?
I don't know, I wasn't paying for video games back then. They just sort of appeared.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh, man.
It's like I took my gun out and they just kind of appeared in my house. Yeah, that sounds about right. Probably like, 40, $50.
Yeah, so I think they definitely they definitely made their money back. But yeah, so I think I looked it up to $1 million back in the 90s is about 2.3 million today. So, I mean, I would love to have that budget to do something. But you're right, it's really not a lot. But it's also like Spyro is definitely not Grand Theft Auto 5. Spyro is definitely not Starfield. Like the amount of time it takes to make Spyro versus making something like that is just vastly different things.
Yeah, like it would probably be like if we could find the budget for Super Mario 64, like I feel like that would probably be a similar-ish game, or Crash or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm really curious. Super Mario 64 budget. I wonder what that was. I don't know if they would even say. I feel like Nintendo keeps that stuff on lock. How much should it cost to make it? They said it costs about $1.5 million, according to a quick Google. That is never wrong. It's definitely not just the auto-generated bar chat, for sure.
Yeah. What is kind of interesting, and I thought I recognized him, but his name is Clancy Brown, which he's kind of like this real famous voice actor. Like he does stuff, like he does the voice of Lex Luthor. He was in the most recent season of Dexter. He's in Ahsoka right now, but he was the voice of a crap ton of these dragons, and
interesting.
And it's he's like a really popular voice.
Interesting.
Spyro movie win.
Yeah. Honestly, with this animation, I'd watch it. I mean, it's great. Anytime someone had, these are like one of the rare times where I'm just like, yes, a cutscene. Let me like really look at this in detail.
Right.
So they got me with that. I'd definitely watch it. All right. So in terms of worlds, they mostly follow, like I feel like they get a little bit more vertical in this, which leads to some more like kind of those jumps that I was sort of talking about. Is there any world that we want to go over specifically, or do we want to kind of go into the flight world and then go into the boss, which is Dr. Shimp?
Dr. Shimp.
What are your thoughts?
I'm excited about Shemp, so
yeah. I mean, I'm good with going into the world and the.
See if I can find.
No one got any screenshots of booty pics or anything.
I have one of his current one. Let me grab an old one.
His booty pig.
Yeah.
Jeff, you want to walk us through the intro? Dr. Shemp set up the scene, what his mechanics were, while I find some potentially NSFW
set up the
photos.
scene. Yeah, and this kind of goes back to where I didn't realize that I think at Dr. Shemp I still didn't realize that like he was the boss. Like I thought it was just the world was called Dr. Shemp.
Yeah.
So I showed up, and I'm like collecting all the items, and then I come up on this like tower, and there's a guy, and he's got he's holding a staff, and it looks like it has a what is that guy's name from Crash Bandicoot, the wooden plank looking mask thing?
Bootabaga.
No.
Bootabaga.
I don't remember, but it looks like he's got that on his staff, and his mechanic is basically like he'll do a spin, and he's wearing like a front covering, and I think that's metal, but he's got his full moon out, so you flame him in the butt, and then he like just kind of navigates from platform to platform, unlocking a bridge as he goes. And I will say that the experiences with Dr. Shemp get progressively harder. But like I said, this kind of goes back to I didn't even realize I was technically fighting a boss because it just kind of seemed like a random dude that was unlocking the bridge.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think maybe just having like a small cinematic or like zoom into the character.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
and then just like Dr. Shemp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it, okay, it's a boss.
That's
I think that would assault it.
And you don't get any items for being.
Oh.
So it's the tiki mask is called Aku Aku in Crash
He's
Bandicoot.
wearing a bib in the first.
Yeah.
I do. I don't know. I really like I actually like the PlayStation style of visuals more than the Nintendo 64. I like sort of like the crisp pixels with like the low polygon. So I'm kind of digging old Dr. Shemp. I don't know.
Yeah.
A lobster or something.
I wish they would have kept the same color palette because it's pretty.
He's like
It's Jamin.
washed out here.
Yeah, he looks very like Mad Max on the right.
There we
Oh.
go.
There it is.
Look at that.
Dumpy.
And I did like this world because it had like the straight up eclipse. Like it's kind of like this dark and dreary area, which I thought was pretty cool.
Eclipse. All I see is the full moon.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, quite an epic scene for this big old butt just taking up, a third of the screen. Rule of thirds was really in use here for the for the screenshot. Someone worked a long time on this one.
What do you guys think about like I don't know, this kind of being a relic of its time? Like do you think a boss like this could exist in a rated E for everyone game without people getting in an uproar about it? Like do you think that it would fly?
I think something like this, yes, because this is so obviously cartoonish. I don't think anyone would notice, especially in the way that it was presented as such like a quick thing. I'm trying to think of whatever, if anything else recently I can think of. Because like I don't know how much I would have noticed. Like unless we sit here and talk about it, I don't think I'm going to notice it other than like, oh, I did it. And then, I don't know. I feel like I would forget it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting that you pointed out that Link, the Aku Aku looking piece on him, because now it makes me wonder. I just looked up when Crash Bandicoot came out. It came out in 96 and Spyro came out in 98. So I wonder if they were almost like parodying it to make this guy just be like a naked, ugly idiot with like the mask.
With,
to be
with
like
Aku Aku's mask.
Yeah, like look at this
like
goofy Bandicoot-esque person with this mask or something like that. I don't know.
Or just like it could even not even like be nefarious, but it could just be like, hey, like we're sister companies or sister studios under the PlayStation umbrella, or Sony umbrella. Like, hey, we'll put like a inspiration for one of your masks in our game.
Yeah.
Scott, do you know anything about that? Like, do you know if that's actually like based off of Crash Bandicoot or if that's just like a coincidence?
I don't remember anything about that. I don't think there was a mask on the original one though. Or was there? I think he just had like a staff.
Okay.
Maybe that's a mask. It's hard to tell from that screenshot.
I'm going into the iceberg here, and it looks like it's very similar to Crash Bandicoot's first boss named Papu Papu. And also the employees at Insomniac they use the phrase "got the shimp" whenever a blunder was made. So Dr. Shimp's spin attack says performed on the third platform was identical to the first boss in Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, I mean that.
So maybe there was a little bit like poking fun,
It's
but
interesting.
Yeah.
Little rivalry.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought Dr. Shimp was I think he was much more of an improvement from Toasty. Toasty was like, what was this? But at least with Dr. Shimp, I felt like I knew he was different
It was,
because of his three explicit forms, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And he was definitely like you had to. Yeah, 3 phases, and like it did get a little bit more difficult as it went. You know, like one of them was like a straight up spin attack, and I thought there was something else that happened as well that he did. Oh yeah, this one, the lanterns.
Yeah, so not to just move us on, but I didn't have it hidden, so I was getting us ready for the next one. So Dr. Shemp being taken care of, it's now on to the glorious night flight. I actually thought this one was easier than the first one, mainly because I felt like this one had a clear pattern. But the lamps definitely did throw me for a loop.
Yeah.
Because like the lamps don't look like I don't know. They just don't even look like a thing at first. They're just like, oh, that's the scenery. Sure.
That's yeah. Well, and I think I died. Of course, I died a couple times prior to even like getting to the lamps. But it popped up and it said like chest, lamp, arches, or whatever, like the 4 things. And I was like, lamps. Like I gotta find. I was like, lamps. Where the heck are the lamps? And so I figured I was gonna have to find like these little tiny lamps. And then I was like kind of flying around. I was like, oh, it's the freaking lighthouses, dude.
Yeah.
Like
there's some big old lamps.
Yeah.
Like and so
and I couldn't really figure out.
It looks so obvious. Like you're just like, oh, it's obviously the giant thing, but like. I don't know. The first time you see them,
and they're so fast. They're so fast too.
You're zooming around. You don't got time to look at lamps.
Yeah.
Or lighthouses that look like lamps. But
and you had to flame them to turn them on. You couldn't bump into them, right?
Yeah, I flamed everything. Can you bump into stuff?
I mean, I guess the arches you just go through it.
Well,
right?
okay, yeah. Besides those, but yeah, I flamed everything that I thought I had to hit because I was not gonna restart that if I didn't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I did think this one was easier though. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
did as well.
Yeah, Dallas, Skylar, did you guys think this one? Skylar, did you attempt this one, or did you just hand the controller over?
Did you guys do it in one go, or did you piecemeal it?
I think this one I actually only attempted once. I didn't beat it in the first try, and then I decided since it didn't have any dragons that I was just gonna move on.
Wow.
I gave up the glory and the fortune.
I don't
pursuit of
blame you.
more time back in my life.
Yeah,
man.
Well, especially if you said you're playing this before you go to bed. It's just like,
is
this really what you want to like go? Like you're gonna sleep and you're gonna see like those fucking lamps in your dreams. It's gonna be seared in your brain.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've ever had this happen.
Into the ocean.
Yeah, but I've had that happen when I'm like working really hard on something at work and like it's just like dumb forms, but I'll like see the form in my head as I'm trying to go to sleep, and it's the worst thing ever. You definitely don't want that happening with lamps before bed.
For sure.
Scott, do you do these first time?
Yeah, now I do.
You're ready.
Just legend.
So how these were designed, this was really supposed to be the first flight stage. The one in the first level was supposed to be the 3rd or 4th one.
That makes a lot of sense.
I guess they weren't really expecting players to really find the level behind the waterfall by jumping on the stones.
I'm feeling so validated right now.
We didn't find it.
Well,
that's interesting.
I feel like that's like super easy to find. I mean, I'm coming at this with like I knew it was obviously a thing, because I played it before, but I don't know if I actually knew that the first time. But that makes a lot of sense because I'm pretty sure in the third world there is a dragon that tells you to go, and as you mentioned earlier, Jeff, there is a dragon that's like, "Hey, go jump on the platforms," and you're like, "Oh well, duh."
I already did that. Yeah.
Like,
Well, and it was pretty obvious. Like you jump on them and they freaking
light
maybe
up.
maybe on the
Yeah.
maybe on the PlayStation 1, like maybe it wasn't as obvious. But yeah, like you jump on it and it lights up, and it may even make a sound as you do it. I'm like, all right, it's like obvious.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the sound is it says jump on the other ones whenever you jump on one. That's what it says.
Pretty much, yeah. It's just
Hey,
like,
do that again.
Hey, keep going.
Yeah.
Hey, keep going.
You're like, all right, okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense though, because that first one sucked. This one's fine. Mine is just the not knowing what to do with the lamps, but
the lamp, yeah.
I do like the energy of just skipping. Did you? I guess we'll find out soon if you got to the third one or not. Because I really thought the first one so far was the hardest.
Yeah,
this one's pretty easy breezy. Okay, so I think that kind of covers it for this area. I think we're going to discuss the next area, and then we will discuss the rest in part 2. Any other closing thoughts for this?
Yeah, I was going to say, since we're in the transition, I noticed that the little dude that takes you on the hot air balloon, or I guess...
we didn't even talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
I guess more like you steal it from him. He tells you to collect, I think, 10 dragons in the beginning. But then after once I completed the second level, and once I completed the third level, he was just like, well, thanks for doing that. Or like, I was just like, doing what? What did I do?
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was dragon. Oh, no, I think on the second one, he says, thanks for getting all those eggs or something like that.
Well, if I'm trying to remember the exact order, it's like 10 dragons, and then it's like 1,200 gems, and then it's like 5 eggs, or maybe it's 5 eggs and then 1,200 gems or something like that.
Okay. So they do all kind of play a part in the game.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, I was just sitting here thinking I was just gonna have to get dragons the whole time.
Well, and no, because what probably happened, you may have already had enough gems to do the flight thing. So, because I think whenever I talked to him, I had 4 eggs and I needed 5, so I had to go and find one, and then the gems. I think I was like real close. I think I was like 100 away. I like this guy too.
Yeah, he's like cool little sidekick man. And I like how he's just eternally waiting at the docks for you.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go. He doesn't like run around. He's just like, yeah, I'll just be here, Spyro.
He's got nothing else to do.
Here. I'll be here when you need me.
He's just like an Uber driver who's just circling the airport.
Yeah.
He's just waiting. He's like,
need a cab.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I'm here. I have a screenshot of here we go. All right, 1 second. Hop. So this is some obviously like art from Activision here, going over the Reignited trilogy. But I think it's kind of cool. Some of the demo. I love just like Spyro's like really blank stare in the bottom left. He's just like, mm-hmm.
No one's lights are on, no one's home.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I'm so far up here right now.
Yeah.
That's why I don't take hot air balloons.
Yeah.
So
all those fumes will really get to you.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah, definitely the balloonist. I think that's his name. Or wait. You have Marco the balloonist, Gosnald the balloonist, Tuco the balloonist. Are these all... I think they're all different ones. Yeah, they're all different ones.
Maybe they're like siblings.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty clever.
I didn't realize that. I thought... Is one of them named Clay? Or Cray?
Cray, yes. Yeah, they all look the same except like their shirt is different. So.
Oh my gosh, it's like Sid in Final Fantasy.
Kind of
like how he's basically like there's always a Sid in the Final Fantasy game, but he's like a different person named Sid. But it's like he always plays like the same character. But that is funny because like I said, whenever you get to the hot air balloon, he doesn't like ride with you. You just get in and he's like,
you just like take off.
Yeah, see you later.
Yeah, so these must be all dudes that are just in different worlds waiting for
and they're stuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just leave them behind.
Man. It's getting dark.
Yeah, all these balloonists here. Something capitalism something I'm sure is in there.
Oh man.
All right, so let's get on to our last world for the evening, which is something I totally remember and do not have to pull up on a Wikipedia. It's Magic Crafters.
Magic Crafters.
I was starting to enjoy the overall theme of this world a lot more because it's kind of like a little snowy, which I like, especially considering that, I mean, we're at the end of summer here, hopefully in Texas, and I am over it, to say the least. So even just like seeing snow is enough for me to be like, that's what I want. That's what I want for dinner.
Yeah. Nice heap of snow.
So, I'm getting some screenshots here, but I do really like the way this whole area looks. I think it looks really nice. It just looks cozy.
Yeah, definitely. It is. It's like a lot more relaxing than. And sorry to bring this up again, but more relaxing than the ukulele ice level that just made you feel like you were just frozen while you were playing, which is a cool effect. But just saying, like, this one does feel more comfortable.
Well, so like feeling that the snow is melting, the sun coming out. It's not like the dreary ice.
Yeah,
that's true.
This whole area does introduce something new for the first time, which actually I think is a good question of like, so whenever y'all get to a new area, how do you play it? Do you explore the home world fully, or do you go into each world kind of like as you find it?
I kind of go into each world as I find it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I started the first level by exploring everything, but then thought it may be more efficient to just go in each world as we explore it.
Yeah, I actually did a mix of both. Scott, so how do you just basically know exactly what you want to do, or do you own 100% every area since you're very accustomed to it?
Yeah, I just 100% go all except for the home world. I just go from in sequential order. So whenever I come up on it
for the home world, so you do everything and then you go into the level, or you just do level by level and then the home world?
I just do level by level and then the home world.
Gotcha.
Home world's last.
Gotcha.
Okay. And I was gonna ask you, Scott, are you 100%ing this game? Like, do you know where all the gems are pretty much, and you're just able to grab them all?
Don't you have them all tattooed on your left butt cheek?
I do.
Yeah.
Right on your Dr. Shin.
Yeah.
So if there's any gems that y'all can't find, a cool trick is pressing the left trigger. It'll make sparks point in the direction of the gem.
Whoa.
That is a cool trick.
That.
Yeah, we need to go to the master. Because that was one of the things is like I didn't want to like 100% it because if I didn't know where a gym was, I didn't want to go find it. But if something will tell me where it is, that's more entertaining I think than me just like wandering around being like, where am I going?
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things to do in collectathons like this is I'm trying to think of what game. I've definitely done it in Lego games, but if I am missing like, a mini kit or a gem or something, I will Google like the level, how many gems I have, and then put can't find last two or something like that. And, so it's like if it's 98 out of 100, I'll Google, like have 98 out of 100 on Dr. Shemp world. Where could these last two be? People will basically post like, did you miss this one? Like this, like there's always like somebody that's like, hey, this is like a really this is a spot where you'll probably miss one. I haven't done it on this game because I'm like kind of the same as Trevor. I was like, I'm not going to try to 100% this game, but it's kind of funny how similar people are in some of their play styles where they'll like just easily miss something in the game.
Yeah. Which makes you kind of wonder how much of that is like certain level design or just human nature or whatever. Because like I know that there are very differences in like even play styles. Like sometimes I watch some people play a game and there's like the thing they need that's right in front of them, and I'm just like, how do you not see this thing? Or even just like watching a Let's Play, there are like definitely examples of that where you're just like,
you're like, I can't find this thing.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure I do it too. But it is really interesting how we can do that. But I think that's a neat point to bring up. I would have never thought to Google missing the last one. I would have just been like gym and map, and that's what I would have done.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. But but if you're on like some kind of huge map, you know, it's kind of, it can sometimes be tricky to like try to find,
for sure,
to like backtrack to each spot, and sometimes, and that's, I don't want to say it's not fun, because I feel like, you know, Googling like, hey, where's this last one at? Like that could also be not fun because it's kind of cheating. But I don't know, like backtracking an entire map always kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Scott, does the left trigger thing, does that work for eggs as well, or is it just for gyms?
Just for gyms. It's
Okay.
left click though.
Oh, left click. Sorry.
Yeah.
I feel like so like the dragons and the dragon eggs, I'm definitely doing those because they're relatively obvious. Like I haven't really gotten lost on one of those, but the gyms definitely I didn't feel like doing because well, you can hear the
guy
dragon thief for sure.
Yeah.
But I do think so far this is the first area to actually introduce a quote unquote new mechanic, but it introduces these ramps that if you charge down, you become invincible and you go a lot quicker. I don't think there was a new mechanic introduced in the first world, because you don't learn anything, or even in the second world that I'm aware of. Did I miss a mechanic?
I wouldn't consider it a mechanic, but there was something new you could do, which was fire those cannons off.
Yeah.
But other than that, I can't really think of one.
Yeah. But this one did have a new mechanic, so you drive down and you would use these because basically they were like these wizards that like when you walk up to them or sort of get near them, they would make the level change, you know, just by basically making a platform move. And this would allow you to go fast enough to hit their booties before they can do that.
Which I thought was pretty neat. It's such a simple concept, but you know, in games like Mario 64 where things are just kind of like moving randomly, it's like there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just because it's Mario and it's insane worlds that we live in. But like it's cool that they kind of brought some flavor to that by putting like an actual druid to do that. And I think whenever you kill the druid, it does stop the platform from moving.
Yeah,
so.
it does.
It kind of moves it to like the center point.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which is pretty neat.
Yeah, I
makes you feel like you're in control, like of the world around you to a certain extent.
Yeah, I like every enemy that's really been introduced, and I think the main reason why I like them is because they're so well animated and they're so well articulated that it's really hard to see into these enemies and be like, I'm not interested in that. Which is really just great work for Toys for Bob. Which did they also do the Crash Bandicoot?
The remaster on that.
That was Vicarious Visions.
Interesting. I wonder what else Toys for Bob has done. I guess I could have, or should have, Googled
they
that.
did Skylanders.
Oh, that's interesting that they did Skylanders. Huh. I wonder. I don't want to play Skylanders because I don't want to have to buy any toys or anything. But maybe there's a Let's Play out there of someone playing Skylanders. So if anyone watching is a Let's Player of Skylanders, be sure to put a link in the chat so we can watch the engaging content of that. I'm sure it's fine. I don't know. It just doesn't sound.
They did 102 Dalmatians puppies to the rescue.
Ooh.
And Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam on the Wii.
Oh, they're so speaking of Crash, they were a part of Crash 4 and Crash Team Rumble.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
And Warzone, Call of Duty Warzone. They were a piece of. They did some seasonal content for them.
Of course.
Talk about games like doing a 180.
Yeah. All right. I am pulling up some screenshots of each of the levels real quick. I just have to find where I saved them. So one thing that I'm kind of like feel justified about is I try to get a screenshot of the bad guy here, the mini boss of this level, and my screenshot of him was super blurry, and on IGN is where I'm grabbing some other screenshots from, and they're also super blurry, so I feel at least a little bit justified.
Feel vindicated.
All right, give me just a second, and I'll pull in these screens.
They
That looks so stupid.
They also did some work on Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure, which allows you to choose your favorite Disney characters, such as Buzz Lightyear, Kid Tarzan, or Baby Simba, and do some skateboarding on with those characters. So,
Well, that sounds amazing. What platform was that for? Is that our next game?
the one I see it for is GameCube, but who knows?
And
Maybe
PlayStation 2 and Xbox.
Wow.
Ooh.
Stream Skate
Maybe
Adventure.
that's a good soundtrack. Like
Oh, and then Vicarious Visions did the version for the Game Boy Advance.
Oh no, there's a Game Boy Advance version of this.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet that is a nightmare.
I do like the kind of Game Boy Advance ports of some of these games. Like they're super, like, because like I know there's like a Banjo-Kazooie one that people say is actually pretty good. I've tried to play it. I couldn't really get to it, or couldn't really get into it. But there are a lot of ambitious Game Boy Advance ports, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is some of a screenshot from, I think, most of the regular levels minus the flight level and the homeworld here. I definitely like the vibe of this because they all still follow with that sort of like wintry theme. So I'm a big fan. Plus all the pine trees just really is the antithesis of the weather I'm in right now, which is super nice.
Yeah, it brings the it also kind of brings the fantasy back into the game. Like you're a dragon, you're saving dragons.
Yeah.
And there's like wizards and stuff now rather than just like
Blobs.
you know, gorkers and
Well animated
sand.
Gnorks.
Yeah, Gnorks and sand.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah. So, yeah, super cool level designs on these. Very vibrant.
Yeah. Scott, what's your favorite of all of the worlds so far? The mini ones.
In this one?
No, in all of them so far. Like, which one's your favorite?
So far this one.
Yeah.
Magic Crafters. Yeah.
I agree. There's something just special about this one.
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed the level with the giant spiders. I thought those dudes were pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's a level in the top right with the giant spiders. I remember it being a little bit darker. Because that level had another mechanic as well that was introduced. So you went from like no mechanics to now you had the charge dash. At this one, if you found a little like pixie or whatever, she'd kiss you, and then you start blowing really hard.
You start what?
Blowing really hard. You go, and then
Which is the name of the boss.
blowing really hard.
You got the blow hard. Yeah, blow hard.
There was because I noticed there was like an area where those pixies were
Just kind of hanging out.
Yeah, they were like dropped below the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, what the hell are they doing now? I was like, how do you get that? And I was also like, well, how do you also get across this entire map where I see all these gems? And then I learned that you could just dash and like jump and fly really high. And then come to find out there was a dragon on the other side that let you know that you could do that.
Yeah.
So that was great. Yeah.
Super helpful.
I figured it out. Yeah. But no, yeah, if you do fall, they grab you and they're just like, and then just go put you back up on the top of the ramp, which is a 1-up from like a Mario Kart game where they just stick you where you fell off. Sometimes.
Yeah.
This one was like, we're gonna put you in the exact spot you need to be.
It was super convenient. It was hard to be frustrated when he fell off. But you're like, but I could just try again.
Yeah. No harm, no foul.
I'm trying to find a screenshot because the fairy that like gives you that power is slightly different than the rest of the fairies. Because the fairies don't really do much in the game except like exist. Like you can go up to them and replay like a dragon's talk, but in case you really forgot a hint or something, there's not really a reason to do that. But I think this was called a super. It's really hard to find a screenshot of this. If only I came prepared beforehand. Okay, well I don't. This must be. Oh, that's a video. Not showing that.
Yeah. One thing I'll have to admit, I beat the boss for this game, but I'm like going through and looking at the levels. I don't think I played any of the levels.
What? You just go straight to the boss?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, I'm so far ahead. I'm way over halfway.
Because I went and looked at the next world, and I did play those worlds. Like I played the Misty Bog, and I've played, all this like but I don't recognize any, like I don't remember the spider part at all, and
That's funny.
But I do remember fighting the boss.
I like how Jeff was like, "You didn't do the flight level,
Yeah.
100%. Come on." He's just like, "I've gone to 5 levels in time."
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and because I like went back and looked, and yeah, I've done the treetops, Terrace Village, Misty Bog, and Beastmakers. Like I think I beat all of Beastmakers, and then somehow I don't think I beat the I did do the Crystal Flight in this one. I did do the flying level in this one.
That's super weird. How did you skip that?
Yes. Well, because I think all you have to do is you just have to go find the guy, and you can just fly away.
Well,
so
yeah,
you just have to have.
I'm surprised you had enough dragons.
I'm a big dragon guy.
I think this one's the eggs to get
That's probably what it was. It was probably just the eggs, and so I had enough, and so I just left. I need to double check my save file. I'll have to report back.
Yeah, you might have some homework to do on this one.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, you guys were talking about the spider part, and I was like, I don't remember fighting any spiders.
Like,
and then
spiders,
on that four photo that you just posted, there was the enemies that were like on the. It looked like the thing was flipping like this, and nope, not that one. Nope,
there we go.
That one. I don't remember that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that area is pretty specific. There's not another area like that in the game.
Yeah. So I had not done that. So I'm going to have to go back and, like I said, I did beat the boss and I beat the flight level because I remember doing that.
That's funny.
But somehow I just skipped the all the rest of the levels.
Yeah, like the rest of it's not worth it. I don't need to do this.
I mean,
intrinsically.
I had already gotten all the stuff, so I was like, well, I'll just go to the next world. Yeah. And like in the next world, I've got like a bunch of the stuff too.
That's funny. That's funny. I do.
So I don't have a whole lot of opinions.
Yeah, that's funny how it was just so easy for you to do that because you had to walk through the world, and at some point you just went, yeah. I guess I'm just not going to do this.
Yeah, well, or it was just, I don't know. I mean, maybe I just found the flight level, and then once I did the flight level, I was like, yeah, that's good. And then I went and
moved on.
I have no excuses.
You pushed past it.
Yeah,
that's fair. All right, so I think this is Crystal Flight should be the one of this area, which honestly, like, I didn't realize how similar it looked to Night Flight until I wasn't confident that this was actually a photo of Night Flight. Like, I think Night Flight has more towns in the background. This one obviously has more like crystals, but like the colors are the same. It's kind of hard to see past that. Did you even attempt this one, Dallas?
I don't think so, and Jeff, I know I just gave you crap, but I think I also skipped like 2 or 3 levels.
Oh my gosh!
On accident.
What are you doing?
I didn't mean to.
I don't.
I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go back and
we're probably gonna get gated out of it eventually. Like
yeah, it's gonna be, you guys aren't playing the game. You can't get on this. You can't get on this little ride here.
You need 10,000 gems now. Good luck.
You're like, oh, I have 4.
Pay up. Yeah. I'm broke.
All right, well, Scott, I guess you and I actually played the game. It was a great time, wasn't it?
They don't call it unfinished ventures for nothing.
So unfinished, I didn't even start.
Yeah.
Yeah, but overall, I did like that area a lot. So, Jeff, I think you got a treat going back to it.
Yeah, going back.
Definitely good themes. I don't think the flight one of this one was too hard. I feel like this one actually was the easiest. I don't remember what you collected. It was rings.
Rings, arches. Yeah, rings, arches, and planes and chests again. I think this one I had a little bit of issue with.
With like the last plane.
With the last one.
Yeah.
So this was one of the ones where I didn't know the pattern on how to do it. So there was a couple, like, obviously, if I remember correctly, as soon as you start, you have to go through the rings. Like, it's pretty much like
the start right there. Pretty much.
It's like you can go to the right and skip the rings, but
why?
Like, why would you do that? Yeah. So if I am remembering this one correctly, like, you kind of have to make a choice. So as you do the rings, you come back around and like there's an arch on the bottom left. and there's a chest or there's a plane on the top right. So it's like there's an arch on the bottom left, and then the first like plane is on the top right.
And
so
you
you have to
can't get
choose
it.
which one.
You
You
can't
can't
get
do
both.
both. You can't do both.
Scott,
so,
can you do both? Do you know what we're talking about, right? No. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No, if Scott can't do it, we can't do it. That's for sure.
So I think the way that I would try it, or the way that I kind of played it at first, was I was doing the arch by default, and then I was doing the planes, and like even that was kind of difficult. Like if you didn't time it right, you would fly like right underneath a plane, and you would miss them. But this was one of the ones where I got like I would do the rings, then I would do the arches, and then I would do the chests. Or I don't remember, but I would do the chest, and I would be flying back to go and either get the last arch or the last plane, and I would just barely miss it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the way that I ended up doing it was maybe similar to the train, where I was flying backward, like I was flying against the planes, and I would hit them as they flew by. But I don't remember if that was this one or if that was the next one. It was hard though.
Yeah.
I think on this one, it was one of the ones where I had like half a second left whenever I finally did do it, or like 1 second left.
Yeah, I had I like pretty much had the exact same experience. So Scott, did you do this at like with a little bit of time left, or did you have like 30 seconds left?
I don't remember how much time I had left, but the way the order is, it's the rings, the arches, the planes, and then the chests. And then the way the planes sync up is right when you hit the last plane, it syncs up to where you can start on the chest immediately. So that's the way I did it.
I feel like
Are you flying with the planes, or are you flying against the planes?
You're flying with the planes.
So how do you get that last one, the first last one? Because like that was the one that always got away.
So you said you do the arches first, or you do the rings and the arches.
Yeah,
and then
after,
rings
after the arches. I'm trying to remember. It's just the way that it syncs up. You're flying with the planes.
Yeah,
and
I just always miss that the first.
Yeah, I always missed like the first plane. Yeah, the first plane. It would become the last plane, but it was the first plane that I would see.
Yeah, it was tricky. For sure, Scott. You should upload You should take a video of yourself running through all of them, so we can marvel in your glory. Just perfection. That's what I want to see. So maybe we'll have Scott speed run on at least the flying ones next time. Yeah. So that will close us out of the third area.
We didn't talk about the boss, did we?
Oh, we didn't. No, you're right. I think I got a little confused because we mentioned it and then we moved on like you did with the levels. Here we go.
Oops.
So then we had Blowhard. Honestly, it probably took me 30 seconds. I just ran up, I hit him. I ran to the next stage, I hit him, and then I ran to the next stage. I don't even you could. He is memorable as he looks over there. You're not gonna remember what that is. It's just like a spinning
flying away.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was super easy. Yeah.
I thought it was really easy too. It was weird because like the second boss felt at least like it had some proper.
Yeah.
I don't know, like one thing you had to pay attention to, but this one I was just like, and then he just died. Yeah.
Like you didn't even have to stop. Like I felt like you could just run up, hit the flame. Like I don't remember stopping, and at least with Dr. Big Butt, like he sort of like reset a bit.
Dr. Shimp.
He sort of reset a bit. This one was very much like the Toasty. You just like, well, that was a thing.
You just go and get him. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not even sure you did it right because it was too easy. Which I guess if I would rather it be too easy than being too difficult, but
yeah. And I don't know if we mentioned it on the stream, but I said like as we were like midway through playing this game on Sunday, I guess, or Monday, this game's like really relaxing and really, besides the flying parts, but otherwise like it's a really enjoyable game. Like it's just kind of, it doesn't take a lot of effort really, which I mean could be to its detriment. You could say like it needs to be a little bit more challenging.
Yeah.
And maybe the second and third one are a little bit more challenging. I don't know, but it just felt like it was very straightforward. Like didn't have to, crush your soul trying to, get progress in the game.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah, that's what made it feel like a good nighttime game, because it was pretty stress-free for the most part.
For the most part.
That's why you're skipping all those flight levels.
That's
yeah,
right.
skipping all the flight levels.
I gotta
Get my blood pressure down.
Yeah.
Skipping regular levels.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree.
I only do flight levels to win.
And I know we've talked about this a lot, but I honestly really like the way this game looks, especially like playing on my PC even versus playing on the Steam Deck. Like the lighting effects on it look super good. I think all the shadows look great. Like the lighting off of like the dragons looks fantastic. The lighting off of Spyro. I mean, you can even see just some of the way that like the lighting sort of reflects off like the snow, and like the sort of right there. Like this game looks good. It looks way better than it had any right to be. Honestly, like
that's why I was curious, like what the budget was, like how much. Like I feel like they had to have, spent an exorbitant amount of money on the game.
Well, it's also interesting because they didn't have to design the game. You know what I mean? They didn't have to be like, "What are we doing?" They had to take it. They had to clean it up. They probably had to rewrite the code, but there probably wasn't any question. I mean, well, there wasn't any question of how do we design this? Should we tweak this? It probably was just like, let's go. So that saves time, which therefore would save money. I'm not saying it didn't. I'm not saying this is cheap, but it had to be not as expensive as like other things. So
Agreed.
I don't know. It's interesting. Interesting stuff. Maybe we can find the budget next time and have some more fun facts. Maybe not. Who knows? With the way that this gets prepared for, I have a feeling we'll just show up and have a good time.
Yeah. Only way to do it.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Any last thoughts?
I'm excited to see what the future levels hold. The next is it Beastmaker?
Yeah, look kind of swampy. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
like a
loaded it
spooky
up,
level?
but I didn't actually get very far. It is funny. I feel like we're following similar trends as we do to every platformer, which obviously this is an older game, so it didn't really need to reinvent things, but yeah, I'm sure we're going to go through
I asked
the ring.
I asked ChatGPT what the budget was, and it said that it doesn't know.
What? A truthful answer.
Yeah. Yeah, it says it's not publicly disclosed, which, I mean, like I said, I couldn't find it, so...
Ask ChatGPT to ask.
To ask
Toys for Bob.
Insomniac,
Yeah,
or Toys for Bob.
Ask Toys for Bob.
Yeah. Can you send an email to Toys for Bob, please?
Yeah, we just want to know for this little show we're doing.
Yeah.
It'd be a fun fact if you could just tell us how much money you spent on it and how much money you pay your employees, please.
Yeah. How much money did you spend on it? And then how much of that went to the employees? How much went to the budget? And then what kind of bonuses did they get based on the
Metacritic
sales of this game?
Yeah. Just fun stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. This has been a discussion over Spyro the first half. Had a really fun time. As always, this is Unfinished Adventures. Feel free to subscribe and follow, and we will see y'all in 2 weeks for the last half. All right. Bye, everybody.
Nice.
Peace out.
Later.